going to assume everyone watching this already knows that I make a living buying, selling, and taking care of bettas. I hand select the fish we keep, I take care of them all day every day, and pack them up and ship them all over the country. I also answer all the betta emails we get, and believe me, there's a lot of them. Well, I guess that's a lie. I don't answer them all. But most of the emails aren't like that one. They're good questions worthy of a response, and some I get more than others. So today we're going to talk about what some of the most common questions are and give you my best advice. Why does my betta hide all the time? Well, there's a few reasons why your betta might be hiding. First is there's too much activity happening around the tank. When I say that, people often think I'm saying you're right there on the tank, messing around, or maybe even tapping on the glass. Those aren't good things to do, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking about things being super busy in the room where your fish is. Think of it like this. Your fish is maybe 2 inches long, and he's in a small tank made of glass that amplifies everything outside of it. To your fish, everything is giant. Put yourself in your fish's shoes and imagine that giant blurry thing outside of your tank is doing some stupid TikTok dance.
The only way to become TikTok famous is if you know how to dance. So I'm gonna bust my moves for the talk.
You'd freak out and want to hide too. Next is water flow. I can't tell you how many people have asked me why their betta hangs out in one spot all the time and rarely moves. After some back and forth, we realized the water flow in their tank was way too severe, and that spot that he hangs out in all the time is the only place where he doesn't get thrown around by the current. Bettas like their water to be very slow moving. In fact, they're perfectly happy if their water is perfectly still. So keep that in mind when you're setting up their tank. If you have a filter that's super powerful, consider turning the flow down, or use a piece of sponge on the output to slow it down. Or just use a sponge filter. You'll instantly see the fish come out and explore much more because it's not like they're coming out into a hurricane. Unless you're next to the tank doing a TikTok dance. Find somewhere else to become TikTok famous.
For the talk.
What food and how much should I feed my betta? This is one that people definitely overthink and go way overboard with. They've heard you have to give your fish a variety of food or they won't be healthy. While I agree that giving them a varied diet is a good thing, I also know that your fish will be fine and can absolutely thrive on being fed the same food with every meal. The key is giving them the right food. I feed all of my pet bettas as well as the bettas I sell extreme betta pellets and North Fin betta bits. I mix them up like a medley, and a couple times a week I feed Community Crave by Extreme. I like to give them something with spirulina in it. It keeps things moving along, and you know what? Occasionally they get bloodworms as well. Like I said, mixing things up is a good thing if you can afford to buy 3 to 4 different foods and put your fish on a varied diet. But if you're limited on funds and can only give them one kind of food, you're not being cruel to your fish. I feed mine Extreme and North Fin, but if you prefer Hikari or frozen foods or whatever else, as long as your fish are doing well, you don't have anything to worry about. These manufacturers don't just throw ingredients together, they put everything your betta needs to thrive in their food. As far as how much to give them, well, I feed 1mm pellets, so they're really small, and I give them 4 to 5 pellets twice a day, and they do really well on it. Why does my betta struggle to swim normally? This is another one that is almost exclusively due to too much water flow in the tank. Yeah, there's cases where the fish has swim bladder issues. If you're not familiar with a swim bladder, this is basically the organ in your fish's body that allows him or her to stay upright. If they're having issues with that organ, it's usually from poor water conditions, but this is rare. Like I said, swimming issues are almost always from too much water movement in the tank. These are tiny fish, so it doesn't take much to blow them around. Most likely, your new betta came from a store where they were kept in a cup or even a small 1-gallon cube. When you introduce them to a larger aquarium with filtration, it can be somewhat of a shock at first. Think what would happen if you taught your 5-year-old to swim in a swimming pool, and as soon as he understands how to stay upright, you take him to the ocean and say, "Go ahead, son, and have fun." That's not going to work out too well for your son. Keep your water moving slow, use sponge filters, or like I said earlier, slow your flow down with sponges and you'll make your fish's life so much easier. What's the difference between catappa leaves and Fritz dark water? Well, one's a leaf and the other is a liquid. That's it. Of course I'm kidding. Well, kinda. I mean, yes, that's the difference between the two, but the more important question is, why would we want to put these things in our betta tanks? And the answer to that is, because having a Blackwater aquarium is the coolest thing ever. Introducing tannins into your aquarium water has antibacterial properties that make the water healthier for certain fish, and it mimics what they'd see in nature. I personally also love the way it makes the aquarium look because it looks more natural instead of the squeaky clean, immaculate look so many fish keepers are after, especially that husband of mine. So in my opinion, dark water tanks look better and they're healthier for some fish like discus, angels, and yes, bettas. If you want a dark water look, you can accomplish it with a lot of different tannin releasing materials, but the two common ones are catappa leaves and Fritz dark water. Some people prefer the leaf litter look of the real leaves, and others don't want to hassle with cleaning up the leaves after they break down. It can get a little messy. If you're one of those people, you'll want to use dark water. It gives the same effect in that it creates a dark or black water environment without the mess. Oh, and FYI, Fritz even makes catappa tea bags. These have the same amazing benefits and mess-free. How much and how often should I be doing water changes in my betta tank? If you look around online, you're going to see a lot of different answers to this question, but I'm going to break it down and make things super simple. Some will tell you you should do a 50% water change every single week, no matter what. We used to do this until we realized we're doing way more work than necessary. What I would tell you now is completely different. I tell you to do water changes when you need to, instead of on a routine. One of the first things you should have bought when you got your aquarium was a test kit of some kind. Whether it's test strips or a full master kit, it doesn't matter. You need something to test the water. So we're not going to be picky here. If you don't have something to test the water, get it now. Don't wait, just do it.
Do it! Just do it!
This strategy is going to require a little work in the beginning, but I promise it'll save you long term. I want you to do a nice big 50% water change and get everything looking really good. Then I want you to test your water every single day and write down your results. Test for everything: ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, and pH, and document the results. After a couple weeks or maybe even a month, you're going to start seeing things start to change. Hopefully your ammonia and nitrite don't go up. If they do, we need to have another conversation, but more than likely what'll happen is your ammonia and nitrite will stay at 0 while your nitrates will go up. Now the next thing is hotly debated around our hobby. When are nitrates too high? Some will say anything over 20 parts per million, while others will say 40. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. I don't know the answer because it depends on your fish, but for the sake of this conversation, let's say 30 parts per million is where you want to start thinking about doing a water change. So maybe you're someone that's doing water changes twice a week, but you try this new strategy and see that after a week, your nitrates are still down at 10 parts per million. And then you keep going, and after 2 weeks, they're at 15. Then you go another week and they're at 25. What this tells you is you've been wasting your time doing multiple water changes a week when you could be doing them every 3 weeks. That's a lot less work, and everyone loves that. Oh, and once you have a good understanding of what happens to your water through time, you don't have to test every day. This is just to tell you what's going on with your water. Now, I gotta tell you this. If you're doing water changes twice a week, it's your set in stone routine, and your fish are happy with it, I'm not telling you you're doing something wrong. All I'm saying is if that's what you're doing and you're getting burnt out, you should try this strategy and save yourself some time. So there you go. Hopefully you see now that betta fish don't have to be as complicated as you may think. These are simple little fish that aren't super demanding and should require just a little work to keep them happy and healthy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you out, and I can't wait to talk to you again on the next one. Bye-bye.